Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video we are going to chat Age of Sigmar Warcry, and today we're taking a look at the Vulkyn Flameseekers. Now in this video we're going to go through the reaction, the abilities of them, and then go through in turn each one of the fighter cards and have a look and give you our thoughts on all of them and some combinations that we maybe think that will be interesting for the warband. Now, with that said, these are one of 4 brand new warbands that have been added to the game. Obviously, we had the Gorgel Maw Pack and the Wilder Corpse Hunters added in the Hunter or Hunted box set, and then the Vulkyn Flameseekers and the Cruel Boys Beast Hunters have also been added in. They are available in independent boxes. What's really cool too, if you do pick up Hunter and Hunted, you get a bunch of extra terrain cards, twists and objectives as well added in that, which is really cool. A nice little addition on top. Should be said that you don't get any core rules, but the core rules are free in that set, so you would be able to play pretty quickly with that. But with that said, we're here to talk about Fireslayers. The Vulkyn Flameseekers, arguably the best Fireslayer models that Games Workshop have ever made. Now, we do have a really cool reaction for them called Runic Flare. A fighter can make this reaction after the target of a melee attack action, but before any hit rolls are made, you can count up to 2 critical hits from that attack action as regular hits instead. This, I think, is incredibly powerful, considering you do have a pretty tough warband to begin with a lot of high defense models in the warband. This can be really potent to stop your opponent being able to do significant damage to your fighters. Now, we then have some abilities, and we've got 3 of these that are available to all models in the warband. We then have one that is a beast, and then we've got a couple of others as well. The beast one obviously available to our Kindledroth. Now, the regular ones we've got here, first of all, we have 2 doubles, and these are available to every fighter. First being a Blazing Impetus. A fighter can use this ability only after making 2 move actions in the same activation. They can then make a bonus move action or a bonus disengage action. This is really cool as an ability. Now, we definitely, with Fireslayers and with Dwarden in general, are going to suffer from movement issues. So this is a great way to counteract that and give us pretty regular movement on a double move. This, using this after a double move would take you up to movement 9, pretty solid. Now the other is much more sort of boosting something we already do that's good. Instead of bringing us up and allowing us to sort of activate normally, we have Ignite Weapons. We count 1 miss from the net attack action by this fighter as a critical hit instead. This is just incredibly good. Being able to count a miss as a crit is insane. Now, this does obviously mean if you hit with everything, nothing would happen from this, but a pretty cool one if you need to make sure damage is going through regardless. We then have a double for Kindle Breath, which is obviously only available to the Kindledroth, the goodest of all good boys in the mortal realms, because what warband is really complete without pets? You pick a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of this fighter and roll a number of dice equal to the value of the ability. For each 5+, allocate 1 damage point to that fighter and to each other visible enemy fighter within 2 inch. This is sort of like a smaller ability than the Flame Hurler's special ability we have in the Horns of Hashut. Really powerful, it's not as effective, it doesn't do as much damage, but against, tightly packed sort of base sort of, I guess, red shirts, thinking things like Plains Runners and all of that, this could be a really nice little ability. Now, we then have, moving into our triples, the first of these is for Berserk Rampage. Pick an enemy fighter within 1 inch of this fighter and roll 6 dice. For each result that matches the value of this ability, you allocate a number of damage points to that enemy fighter equal to the value of this ability. For each other result, allocate 1 damage point to this fighter. So this is interesting. I mean, this could be a triple you use when you are really needing to sort of roll something hot. I think, this triple is worth it on anything that would be 3 or higher. 1s and 2s are really the only time I wouldn't use this. Because, like, as soon as you get well, even like a 4, as soon as you get a 4, you would need to only roll 1 4, but then you're at least doing as much damage to the enemy as you're doing to yourself. And a 3, you know, you're very likely doing it. I think you can be the judge of when this ability will be good to use, but I think in like those last instances, say your opponent, you know, you really need to slay your opponent, it's got 6 wounds left or 12 wounds left, and you've got nothing else to do, throw this triple out there and try and roll double boxcars. We then have a triple for Creed of Flame. We pick a friendly fighter that's not within 6 inches of this fighter. That fighter makes 2 bonus move actions or a bonus attack action. If that fighter's a beast, that fighter makes 2 bonus move actions, then a bonus attack. So pretty cool here. You like, we can get 2 bonus move or a bonus attack, or we can make everything if we're the little Kindle Droth. So potentially having multiple Kindle Droths might be a way to go with a warband. Lastly, we have the aspect of the scale. We pick a visible enemy fighter within 3 inches of this fighter and roll 6 dice. For each 2+, allocate a number of damage points to the fighter equal to half the value of this ability, rounding up. Pretty cool, like just available to all our fighters. Good, solid damage coming out of it. Really nice quad in all things said. I do like quads that, you know, allow you to do extra damage without having to potentially even be in engagement range is pretty cool. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. And so, to begin with, first of all, we have the warband leader, and this is the Vulkyn Runefather. Now, we do have 2 different loadouts available. We've either got the Droth Vault Great Axe or the Mastercrafted Bokaz. The Bokaz is the bottom picture here. The axe is, well, the axe at the top. Now, other than that, we do have 22 wounds and a defense of 5, pretty solid all round. We've got the leader rune mark there as well, and the elite one, though neither of these rune marks matter for any of the abilities. This will just matter for things like Inspiring Presence and other universal abilities available to leaders. Movement 3, as you would expect for dwarves. Now, the big thing here is we do have the Fire Steel Throwing Axes, which are an 8-inch range, 2 attack, strength 4, 1-3 on the damage. But then we also have the 2 weapons. Now, the stronger of the 2 weapons, strength 5 and 2-5 on the damage, is 5 more points, though you do drop an attack with this weapon, and that is the Mastercrafted Bokaz. For me, I think 5 extra points. I think strength 5 is just so important with some of the newer warbands coming out. Lots of defense 4 out there. I'm thinking things like Jade Obelisk, Iron Golems, even the Stormcast with defense 5. You are going to want strength 5 in your force. I think this just puts him above the other variation. I'd almost always be going with that Bokaz. In fact, for 5 renown, I can't see why I'd ever choose the Great Axe as my option. Moving on, we then have one of our more specialist fighters, and this one is the Droth Master. And we've also got the Kindle Droth up here as well, because these 2 really do work together. Now, first of all, we have the Droth Master. His big ability, obviously, is going to be able to use a Creed of Flame. This is going to allow him to activate that Kindle Droth, though it does work, obviously, on other Fire Slayers as well. It's just much better on the Kindle Droth. His stat line, he's only got strength 4 on his attacks. He does obviously have the range. 20 wounds though, defense 4, he's okay. His big thing though is going to be supporting and turning that Kindle Droth on, really. The Kindle Droth does have a cool strength 6 ranged attack at 2-4 damage, which is pretty nice, and especially considering you could use this to give a double move and a bonus attack to your Kindle Droth. It could be pretty nice all in all. I think he's solid. The Kindle Droth itself, defense 4, 10 wounds, and movement of 4. Slightly faster though, still pretty slow for a Fire Slayers model. He's definitely not the most powerful thing, but I think used nicely, these 2 can form some nice little combos, if not a little bit expensive in what they do. Next, we then move on, and we have our other elite fighter, and this is the Droth Blood Thane. Now, this is the one that's going to have the Berserk Rampage rule attached to it as well, which is really cool. Obviously, he's the one that can sort of do the mass damage at a sacrifice for themselves. Defense 5 is nice. Once again, only strength 4 though, so we are definitely lacking in a bit of sort of higher strength. You know, we're going to be struggling to get through some of the defense 4 and even defense 5 models, I think, with this warband. Though we are going to be pretty defensively good with some solid defense 5, and especially when we consider runic flare is there. I think you're going to be massively relying on Ignite Weapon to make sure you guarantee or almost guarantee a crit going through, but also things like Berserk Rampage, like Kindle Breath and Aspect of the Scale. They're going to be incredibly important to do that extra damage to really tough opponents. And so lastly here we have the Scale Breakers. Now this is really interesting. You actually notice on the back that one of these models with the Scale Breaker with Bokaz actually has the Bokaz in one hand. Really confused me when initially looking. I thought we'd missed a character card in the set, but you do have two weapon options very similar to our Vulkyn Runefather. We've either got the Fire Steel Split Axe, or we've got the Scale Breaker with Bokaz as well, the Big Spear. Now, these are going to be quite interesting here. You've obviously got Strength 4 on the spears, but then you've got Strength 5 on the Great Axes. This, for me, does mean that I would probably be looking to go with those Great Axes. It's really interesting for me that the Mastercrafted Bokaz is the highest strength, but the base Great Axe is actually higher strength than the Leader's Great Axe. So quite interesting there. I'm not sure whether that is perhaps maybe a misprint on the cards, because you can actually see the strengths here are interesting. 2-5 on the damage remains on the Bokaz, and this actually for me gives an interesting sort of different value to it. Both 3 attacks, which is cool. Strength 5, 2-4 or Strength 4, 2-5. I think you are always needing that Strength 5. You got plenty of Strength 4 guys in the warband otherwise, with your Drothmaster and Drothblood Thane. So I think you're going pretty much axes all the time. You still got a 2-inch range on them. 12 wounds, defense 4. Yeah, for me, it's always axes on the base troops. I think you'd be going with a Bokaz on your leader, and then taking the other 3 members. And that would be the way I would build the force. But if you've got some ideas, if you've seen these, maybe if you've got some ideas on other Fire Slayers to bring in the force, other order characters that could really benefit, are there any perhaps Fire Slayers that really do boost up the strength? I'm not too sure of any that really give much strength to some of the other fighters. I know you can get some good defensive buffs with some of the Fire Slayers, but for me, they're a solid warband. I think they'll do alright. 95 renown. I think maybe they're a little bit overcosted. I look at these compared to maybe some of the other warbands that have come out of recent, and I think these are sort of mid-tier, maybe lacking a little bit of strength in to go to a higher tier. I think they're much more on the level of, say, the Monster Killers that we obviously saw, and maybe not quite as potent as something like the Gorges that we saw. But what are your thoughts on the Vulkyn Flameseekers? I'd love to hear from everyone down in the comments below. And that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and also drop a comment down below letting us know what you thought about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our fine little community here at Sinful Gaming, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel. You can use one of our affiliate links to Gap Games or Element Games if you're in Australia or the United Kingdom, or you can subscribe to our YouTube members or Patreon, or grab some merch from our merch stores on Teespring or Ko-fi. All the best ways to help support the channel. As a special thanks to all our Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patrons: Broken Chef, Andy C, Grimskull, Colorblind Magic, Benjamin Swallows, James Cater, Mark Harvey, Domir, Average Wargamer, JJ Austrian, Cure Dynamic, Andrew Bowen, Outer and Shot First, Kenny Lyle and Siren, and to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock, the Johnny84, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, James Tillman, Disco, John Castle, and Gargamel196. Thank you all once again for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.